Today I have two products right here. I have the Anker Solix and the Anker Power Station. These are two fairly large power banks that can be used on camping trips or in emergencies. This one we used through Hurricane Helene and it got us about a week of power of charging our phones. And then this one is another one that's been added and it's a little bit smaller. So we're going to compare the two of these. So as you can see at first glance, the Anker Solix is a little bit smaller and the Anker Power Station is a little bit bigger, and they have multiple plugins on the front, and I'll show you those in a second. But let's look at the Anker Power Station real quick. As you can see, this one's a little bit older, but it has a light on top, which is nice, and it has a screen that tells you how much power you have left. So we've used this on all of our camping trips. This one almost feels a little bit more designed towards camping. It has the light, which has an SOS on it, and it does have solar power to charge, but it does not come with a solar charger. I don't think they even make a solar charger. But having the light on the top of it is nice. It has two different brightnesses, and then it has the SOS. So we don't really use the light too much, but one thing I really do like, and one thing that I think is kind of cool, is it tells you how much power you're charging when you plug something in, what the power output is. So you know if when you plug something in, if it's actually charging or not. If you plug it in, it doesn't do anything, then you know it's not charging. But if it says 8-9 watts, it'll work. We use this on our camping weekends and we've never had it run out. We usually just charge phones with it, some batteries for GoPros or cameras, and this thing works really well. But there's a newer version, and this one's a little bit smaller and it's noticeably lighter, but it has no light on it. And it also has a charging from solar, but like I said, there's no solar on these. And it does have Bluetooth, but we've never used the Bluetooth. It seems kind of pointless to have Bluetooth because you would usually have this next to you. I could only see it maybe being useful if you're using it farther away from you and you're charging it and maybe you want to see how much charge it has. But just like the other one, it has a screen on the front and it shows you how much charge. So currently 77, this has a blue screen on it and works pretty well. It has all the chargers on here too. So there's the two of these. I think both of these would work in an emergency situation when you're just looking for power. I feel like this one is kind of designed for camping, except it is heavier and it does hold less power than this one. So now let's look at some of the connections that are on the front of both of these. So this is where we're going to see some major distinctions. The Solix is really geared towards modern devices. It has an impressive array of USB-C options. There's a 140 USB-C port that can charge a power bank and light up laptops at full speed. Plus you have a 100 watt and a 15 watt USB-C port, along with two standard 12 watt USB-A ports. And so you've got quite a bit of options on here. So now the options on the Anker Power Station, which is also called the Anker 548. You get one 60 watt USB-C port, a 27 watt USB-C port, and two 18 watt USB-A ports. While they're still pretty capable, you can see the maximum power output for each port is significantly lower compared to the Solix. So it might take a little bit longer to charge some of your items. But when we're camping, it's not really a big deal because we're not really needing speed. We're just kind of plugging stuff in as we're using it. So having a faster plug-in for us isn't important. But if you want to plug in a laptop, then the Solix is going to be probably a better option because it has a little bit more power coming out of it than the Anker. Charging both of these, you need a brick and a USB-C. It did not come with it for either of these, but it's not a big deal because I think most people have USB-C cords around and that you can just plug into your wall. And I find them to charge pretty quick. This one will charge a little bit faster just because it's newer and works a little bit better. But I usually get home from a trip, plug it in the wall, and by the next morning it's charged. So I'm not needing to charge it really fast. We did charge this on a generator during Hurricane Helene. Worked well, so that wasn't even an issue during the day when we had some extra power with the generator. So this thing was a beast and it was awesome to have. So now let's look at some of the pros and cons of these real quick. The Solix has faster charging. It has a little bit higher power output, charge some laptops, and it has more USB-C options on the front, which make it a little bit more versatile for just having it for power backup at your house or even on camping trips or for an emergency. Neither of these have a built-in AC outlet. So if you're looking for a power station that where you can just plug in an AC. Neither of these have that. So those are cons for both of these. This one does not have a light. So a pro for this one could be that it has the light. So some of the cons for the Anker Power Station are that it only has 2 USB. They're a little bit less power. Takes a little bit longer to charge. It also does not have AC plug-in. So who are these power banks for? The Solix seems like it's for those who need to charge power-hungry devices like modern laptops quickly. Its high wattage USB-C ports probably make it more useful for someone who's going to be working on the go and needs more power for their laptop. They both do have a very sturdy handle, which I like. Having a handle is nice. We actually use the handle quite a bit more than you would think. It just kind of gets used without thinking about it. So it is nice to have the handle. This one feels more like a safety battery. It has the glow-in-the-dark features around the side. It has the lights on the top. So like I said, for an emergency like the hurricanes that came through, that made this one so much better to have a light. This one obviously would have been great, but I think having the light makes that one better. But this is one if you want to just go to the park and work outside on your laptop, the extra power from this will be helpful for that. And the Anker Power Station is still a solid power bank because you can use this in basically any situation still, and they'll just give you some backup power. Price-wise, I've seen this one go all over the place. I've seen it at 150, I've seen it at 80 bucks. So if you can get this at 80 bucks, this is an absolutely great deal. So I'll put links to it in the description below. This one is currently about 120 bucks. So this actually isn't a bad deal either. If you can pay about like 80 to 120 bucks for either of these things, I think you've got yourself a pretty good deal. It gets kind of higher than that. Then there's other options that might even have AC plug-in. So there you have it, my overview of the 2 Anker batteries. They both have great batteries. They both hold a lot of power. So if you're looking for something that just gives you power to go out and around, the smaller one is probably a little bit more beneficial. If you're looking for one that has maybe some camping features or safety features, then this one's probably a little better because of the light. So I hope this comparison helped you kind of just get a better look at both of these. So let me know if there's anything else you'd want to know or which one you think would be better in the comments. And I will see you in the next video. So thank you for watching.